Bobby shared it last Sunday that he was saved when he was a teenager, but he didn't know for years who was inside of him. I can say that I found, I gave my life to the Lord when I was 9 years old at a Good News Club rally. And my dad was a preacher. I grew up in the church. But I didn't know until my early 20s, after a crisis experience in my life where I almost took a bottle of sleeping pills. The Lord woke me up, put me in a small fellowship, a house church, a life group, that they taught me about the baptism of the Holy Spirit, and I realized there's power inside of me. Amen. Because I was living a powerless life. My emotions were up and down. My life was determined by who said what to me and what happened. And I didn't know the power that I had within me. And this is where we're at. So many of us, is you don't realize who is inside of you. We have been given an amazing gift, not just salvation, but power within us. Amen. We talk about the presence of the Lord, and we experience that in worship, and it's wonderful, but there is a power, and I tell you, Holy Spirit wants to come out of you. It's not just a matter of coming here and, wow, this is wonderful, it fills me, and now I can face another week. That is just the beginning, because it's not about us. Mm-hmm. God, we did receive Holy Spirit to empower us and to fill us, but He gave us Holy Spirit so that He can come through us to others. That's why we have it. And if we're not seeing others in our lives impacted by the same power, something's clogging the system. Because as we sang this morning, we should be overflowing, okay? And this is why, freebie days are so important, because sometimes we got stuff that just clogs up, and the Holy Spirit can't come out because there's clogs, unforgiveness, bitterness, things that we don't even realize that we're thinking. The Holy Spirit wants to come out of you, mm-hmm. and He wants to manifest Himself. Yes. Not just on Sundays. Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, every day. In your marriage, in your family, in your children, in your workplace. And so, even this morning, as I begin to talk about the gifts of the Holy Spirit, you know the sphere that you have been assigned to. Okay, you know where you spend the most of your time. If it's in your home, your community, if you're in the workplace, if you're a mom with kids and neighborhood kids, you know the place where you live and where God's given you a level of authority. And what I'm praying that even as I talk, even as I share, that the Holy Spirit is just going to be stirring your own heart to want to let Him out more and impact the people that are around you. That Jesus would be seen. God, think of it as the Trinity, God the Father, Jesus the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God showed Himself in creation. God reveals Himself through creation. Jesus revealed Himself in the flesh by coming. How does Holy Spirit reveal Himself? Well, that's what we're going to talk about this morning. He wants to be seen. He wants to be known, and He manifests Himself. But we don't recognize Him. And sometimes it's just because we don't realize what He looks like. What's it going to feel like? Because He does want to manifest. I grew up in a traditional church and I had an understanding of Holy Spirit being in me. But the idea of Him coming out and manifesting to be seen, that was new.